Hi guys, it's Myke here. Thought I'd do a little video because I want to talk about something, discuss something that's kind of been on my mind recently. As you know, what happens on the internet, something went viral. Something went viral recently where this little 4-year-old child went into a gorilla pit at a zoo. I can't remember what the destination is or where the location was, but a lot of it kind of went into my whole my whole parenting mind kind of kicked in, if that makes sense. I think most people have a parenting mind in terms of where your children are or how you feel empathy towards, like, kids in a sense, and where they're going. It hit a nerve, and it struck a nerve for kind of that very specific reason. Because I feel that society nowadays, people are very lax in terms of the way that they parent. We do get, it's kind of a double-edged sword in a sense, where we are very overprotective, but we're also very lax in some aspects. And one of the biggest things is kind of what I'm talking to you on right now, mobile phones. And I find with a lot of parents, I see it when I drop my kids off to school, I see it when I'm on this roads, just walking around, doing some shopping and other little bits and pieces. Parents are always on their phone. I see mums pushing pushchairs, phone in their face, not knowing what little Timmy's up to. Now, I will say this before I get a huge load of backlash. It's not every parent, but there are a great deal of them who do this. And it's freaking annoying. It's one of my biggest pet peeves, where I always feel if you're out on the streets with your kids, you're out on the roads, phone in your pocket. You don't need to fucking see what the fuck's on Facebook. You don't need to talk to your friend Sandra. You don't need to sit there and listen to music and stuff while you're taking your kids from A to B. Once your kids are home and you know they're safe and secure, then you can go on your phone and do whatever the fuck you want. But that's the thing. And in regards to this situation, it basically had that same kind of feel to it, because there was this parent who decided, hey, I'm going to, have my children go to the zoo because I'm an inept individual, because I wasn't babysitting or acknowledging my child when he said to me that he wanted to go in the monkey pit. This little kid decides, in variation from what the story said, it took him 20 minutes to go from where his parents were located into that pit. And it took a bit of engineering on his part. Now, I'm not going to basically sit there and start shitting on people who have this on their phone, or the people who were like seeing this kid doing it and not doing anything, because in the end, that's the way we are as a society. No one gives a fuck about what anybody else is doing or how they're handling their kids. If my kids were acting up in a freaking shopping centre, that's my responsibility. Nobody else's responsibility. Nobody's going to sit there and tell me how to look after my kids, and rightly so. I shouldn't basically rely on anybody else to babysit my children for me unless I'm paying them to do so. That's the one of the issues there. So I'm not going to basically talk about that, but a lot of people are just sitting there go, what was everyone else doing? Who gives a fuck? No one else needs to. Secondly, the whole thing about the fact that they had to kill the silverback gorilla, who was, and you can see it in the video, dragging this kid around through the fucking water, to the fact that this kid was nearly drowning. He had to die. And they had to react quickly. They needed a solution. The gorilla had to die. I feel bad for the fact that this had to happen, but the responsibility of this situation goes straight to the parents. You did not watch your child, so don't fucking sit there and go, whoops, it happened. She posted a very lengthy Facebook post, by the way, saying, whoops, it was an instant, it happened, God saved my child and all this and that. And I don't really give a shit if people are religious or not, but in the end, you should not be using anything like God or anything else as an excuse to basically stop yourself from being a parent. You made a fuck up. You made a mistake. You fucked up. And hopefully this sorry excuse for a human being actually looks after their kid and acknowledges the fact that they fucked up and they need to basically do something about this, because in my mind, it boggles my mind. I've had situations where my daughter was saying something to me and I didn't acknowledge my 4-year-old who was in my hand. He slips out, runs across the road. Luckily enough, I screamed, grabbed him, pulled him back, and had situations that happen. But in the end, that was my mistake. I made sure that I sorted that situation out and acknowledged that never's going to happen again. You hold tight of your 4-year-old child, who obviously is going to roam around and do whatever the frick they want to, because that's the way a 4-year-old will think. No one has the best kid in the world. And the thing is, when it comes to children, they have their own minds, they want to do their own things, and they find everything exciting. And that's what kids do. And it bugs me to see shit like this happening. And people are like saying, oh, the zoo needs to be accountable for the fact that it wasn't locked properly and blah, 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 blah. They assured the fact that that thing was secure. This kid got in by just the luck of, you know, happening of the fact that this kid was, that apparently the hole was big enough for him to get through. They probably might have to revisit that and sit there and go, okay, maybe we need to actually do something about to keep that enclosure safe, but he got around it. And the other big thing is the fact that this kid was away from his family for 20 minutes. 20 minutes he was away before he went and jumped into that enclosure, which was another issue. And it bugs me, the fact that we've had so much shit going on at the moment. Like, I'm going to even say it, you know, people are going to shit on me for this. The McCanns, who I can, my honest opinion, are the biggest fraudsters on the planet, for the fact that they've had this kid who's been missing for years and they've profited from it. You have the fucking issue that I saw in the news like about a week ago, where a parent locked her kid in the car, her 2-year-old child, who died of a heat stroke because it was been left in a hot weather, in a hot car, and people just went, let's do a PSA saying, please don't lock your children in the car. Where the fuck has common sense gone? Like, literally, where has common sense gone? As a parent, you need common sense. As an individual, as a person, you need fucking common sense. And there is no words to describe how stupid these people are, and how stupid the internet can be as well. For every good that there is on the internet, and every good that the internet has done, there are people on there that you sit there and make you scratch your head and think, why? Why can people not sit down and go, I'm accountable for this. I need to do this better. Why is it you need classes to learn how to be a better human being? Why is it you rely on things like zoos, like places that you go to go on and do what you're supposed to do and be a proper parent? It shouldn't be like that. You need to understand that what's happening, people need to be made accountable for. The parent that left their child in that car needs to be done for leaving their fucking child in the car while there's freaking 60-degree heat going into that car. That parent that left that children at the zoo needs to be investigated to actually figure out how the frick that 4-year-old got away from his mum and what the fuck she was doing. People need to be responsible for their actions. And as far as I'm concerned, if you coddle everybody and say, oh, it's okay, maybe we should do a video to let the dumb people know not to be dumb, it's stupid. It's ridiculous. It's inane. I can give you like 30 different reasons why it's incredibly insulting, especially to the people who are raising their children right, who are making sure their children are okay, who love their kids. Don't get me wrong. Everyone has a bad day. 2 seconds away from your kid could cause a bit of an issue for you. But you need to have more focus on your children and not spend every day on your fucking phone. You are looking after your kids, it goes in your pocket. If you're going to call your friends, use this. You see this lovely thing here? It's called a fucking hands-free kit. Use your hands-free kit, attach it to your phone. You've got your microphone. You can still keep an eye on your children while you're talking to people. There is a reason why they say you're not supposed to be on your phones while you're driving. It boggles the mind. And that's my little PSA. Here's my PSA for those lovely people who don't think that they should be focusing their attention on their children. If you don't want to look after your children, don't have them. Fucking tie those things up under there. Because as far as I'm concerned, and as far as everyone else should be concerned about, you are a shitty parent. It shouldn't take a class or take an individual showing you how to be a good parent. You should know from the get-go. Parenting is hard. Yes, it is. You have kids that don't listen to you half the time. You have children that want to do what they want, but you still have to instill those values, the same values and common sense that you yourself should have learned from birth. Don't let everybody else raise your children for you. Get out there and do what you're supposed to do as a parent. But that's me. And for those people who want to get butthurt over this, I'm not applying to everyone. This is not a kind of video for every person out there. We can agree to disagree, but as far as I'm concerned, as a parent myself, you can't sit there. The amount of scrutiny that I get just for my various issues, and just for the fact that I'm taking care of 4 little children as a single father, doesn't happen to everybody, and shouldn't really be happening to those people who know what they are doing. Everyone makes mistakes, and I know that. But don't sit there and say, oh, it was an accident. It's not an accident your kid ends up in a fucking pit. It's not an accident that your child ends up locked in a car because you're an irresponsible ass. It's not an accident that you go out for dinner and leave your children alone in a hotel room so that that child's either been abducted or something happens to that child that you're covering up. There is no such thing as an accident if you are negligent. See, there's a difference. And maybe it's time that you hold yourselves fucking accountable for what you've done. And for all those people giving this woman hate threats and all this and that shit, that's not helping. It's not helping. She needs to be investigated for what happened, and it needs to be put right so that it doesn't happen again on both parts. But there you go. Rant over. See you again, guys, for another video. If you like, check out a podcast that I did called Slamcast Extra with Miguel Leon, Dave Wade. We discussed the brand split if you're into wrestling and stuff like that. If not, I'll see you soon for another video. And remember, like, comment, subscribe, you know, all those other things. But yeah, have a good one.